Krishna Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All good to Shri Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to today's morning class. Today we'll be discussing from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 5, verse 227. And the chapter is entitled The Glories of Lord Nityānanda Balaram. We're very happy to have His Holiness Candramauli Swami with us. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Shri Prabhupada and all glories to you, Maharaj.
Haribol.
Haribol Maharaj, and it's all yours.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the devotees. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityānanda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya, Gaura Bhakta Vindam, Hena Ye Govinda Prabhu pāinu yāṅhā haite, tāṅhāra caraṇa-kṛpā ke pāre varṇite. Translation, therefore, who can describe the mercy of the lotus feet of him, Lord Nityānanda, by whom I have attained the shelter of this Lord Govinda? Vrindavana Vasayata Vaishnava Mandala Krishnanam Parayana Paramam Mangala. All the groups of Vaishnava who live in Vrindavan are absorbed in chanting the all auspicious name of Krishna. Yāṅhā Pradadane Nityānanda Sri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Bhakti Vine Nahi Jane Anye. Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityānanda are the life and soul of those Vaishnavas who do not know anything but devotional service to Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Se Vaishnavera Padarenu Tada Pada Chaya Adamera Dila Prabhu Nityānanda Doya. The dust and shade of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas have been granted to this fallen soul by the mercy of Lord Nityānanda. Tanha sarve labhya haye prabhua vachane se sutta e tare kala vivarana. Lord Nityānanda said, in Vrindavan all things are possible. Here I have explained his brief statement in detail. Se sabda pāinu ami vrindavana aye, se sabda labdya e prabhura kripaya. I have attained all this by coming to Vrindavan, and this was made possible by the mercy of Lord Nityānanda. Drop it down a little bit. Okay. Purport. All the inhabitants of Vrindavan are Vaishnavas. They are all auspicious because somehow or other they always chant the holy name of Krishna. Even though some of them do not strictly follow the rules and regulations of devotional service, on the whole, they are devotees of Krishna and chant his name directly or indirectly. Purposely or without purpose, even when they pass on the street, they are fortunate enough to exchange greetings by saying the name of Radha or Krishna. Thus, directly or indirectly, they are auspicious. The present city of Vrindavan has been established by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas since the 6 Goswamis went there and directed the construction of their different temples. Of all the temples in Vrindavan, 90% belong to the Gaudiya Vaishnava sect. And the followers of teachings of Lord Chaitanya and Nityānanda and 7 temples are very famous. The inhabitants of Vrindavan do not know anything but the worship of Radha and Krishna. In recent years, some unscrupulous so-called priests known as caste Goswamis have introduced the worship of demigods privately, but no genuine and rigid Vaishnava participate in this. Those who are serious about Vaishnava method of devotional service do not take part in such worship of demigods. The Gaudiya Vaishnava never differentiate between Radha and Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. They say that since Lord Chaitanya is a combined form of Radha and Krishna, he is not different from Radha and Krishna. But some misled people try to prove that they are greatly elevated by saying that they like to chant the holy name of Lord Gora instead of the names of Radha and Krishna. Thus, they purposely differentiate between Lord Chaitanya and Radha and Krishna. According to them, the system of Nadi and Nagari, which have been recently invented in their fertile brains, is the worship of Gaur, Lord Chaitanya, but they do not like to worship Radha and Krishna. They put forward the argument that since Lord Chaitanya himself appeared as Radha and Krishna combined, there's no necessity of worshiping Radha and Krishna. Such differentiation by so-called devotees of Lord Chaitanya is considered disruptive by pure devotees. Anyone who differentiates between Radha and Krishna and Gauranga is to be considered a plaything in the hands of Maya. There are others who are against the worship of Lord Chaitanya, thinking him mundane. But any sect that differentiates between Lord Chaitanya and Radha and Krishna, either by worshiping Radha Krishna as distinct from Lord Chaitanya, or by worshiping Lord Chaitanya but not Radha Krishna, is in the group of Prakrita Sahajias. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, predicts in verses 225 and 226 that in the future, those who manufacture imaginary methods of worship will gradually give up the worship of Radha and Krishna, and although they will call themselves devotees of Lord Chaitanya, they will also give up the worship of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and fall down into material activities. For the real worshippers of Lord Chaitanya, the ultimate goal of life is to worship Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Om Gyan Timidandasya Gyana Jana Salakaya Chaksuan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Staptitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadam Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimakte Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvasesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya De Satarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Pevacha Atitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vas Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Now, interesting, and this has been seen in our Krishna consciousness movement, where certain devotees who claim that there is no difference between Radha and Krishna and Lord Chaitanya focused their attention on Lord Chaitanya only, not worshiping Radha and Krishna. And they say that since Lord Chaitanya is the incarnation of Radha and Krishna in this age, then it is actually the way to worship in this age is to worship Lord Chaitanya. But Lord Chaitanya says, worship Radha and Krishna. He came to teach the worship of Radha and Krishna and not the worship of himself. In fact, he came as a devotee of the Lord and therefore dispelled any idea of worship towards him. And it directed the worship ultimately to Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani, the divine couple of Vrindavan, which is the understanding of the topmost form of worship, which is given to us by Lord Chaitanya. I actually know of one devotee who broke away from our movement and started his own little group to worship Lord Chaitanya by simply chanting Lord Chaitanya's names on the Japamala, or actually chanting the names of the Panchatattva or Lord Chaitanya. I don't hear about him anymore. This was quite at least 20 years ago, or maybe more, that this incident actually manifested. And so we see here, as it mentioned, that those who disobey the instructions of Lord Chaitanya and considered themselves worshiper of Lord Chaitanya have no stance with Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, whatever they do in terms of worship will simply dissipate in due course of time, because it's actually offensive to Lord Chaitanya. We see there are many incidents where when Lord Chaitanya was called by his disciples or others, the Supreme Lord, he would block his ears and say, no, no, I am simply a devotee of the Lord. I am not the Lord. He did that to dispel any idea that one can somehow or other surreptitiously or pretentiously adopt the idea that they are the supreme and call attention to themselves for worship. But actually, along with that, we find that those who actually accept Lord Chaitanya as the Supreme Lord, still they don't want to worship Radha and Krishna because they say it's not necessary. But Lord Chaitanya says, he makes many statements, that the highest form of worship is the worship of the gopis of Vrindavan. And the gopis of Vrindavan are worshippers of Radha and Krishna. So to deny the statements of a authority and at the same time try to worship that authority is really pretentiousness, or actually extreme disobedience. But this is fashionable. Why? Because this is Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, all kinds of stuff spring up in the name of worship, because people are not, what we say, intelligent enough to understand what is the actual process. And it's given here. And therefore, they create their own ideas. Yatamat tatapat. Worship is the principle. The object of worship is to select whoever you want to worship, as long as you worship. But we don't say that. We say that Mahajano Yena Katasampata, we follow in the directions of the authorized authorities who have established the system of worship. And in all of the lines of Vaishnavas, the worship of Radha Krishna is exalted, and it is the way to worship. Although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha and Krishna in one, he doesn't present himself to be the object of worship. He teaches the object of worship as Radha and Krishna, and he establishes that as the foundation for the principle of worship. But when people worship him, he diverts that attention away from himself towards Radha and Krishna. In fact, by honoring Lord Chaitanya, one can easily get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya by worshiping Radha and Krishna, because Lord Chaitanya came to teach the worship of Radha and Krishna. But here you're seeing how the deviations spring up by taking the philosophy or the statements of Shastra and twisting it to fit their own understanding. Therefore, before one can understand how one should execute devotional service, one has to take guidance of a bona fide spiritual teacher who comes in the line of Lord Chaitanya and ultimately in the line of Krishna. That is called parampara system. Evaram parampara praktir eva rajaseo vidu. The parampara system has been established as the means for understanding how to practice the worship in this age. There are 4 bona fide parampara systems: the Brahma Gaudiya, the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, which we are in. Then you have Sri Sampradaya, and you have the Madhva Sampradaya, Chatushushana Sampradaya, the 4 Kumaras. Outside of those 4 sampradayas, there's no form of authorized worship. It's all concoction, like that. Or if it's not concoction, it's not devotion. It's simply a lower form of worship, such as karma, gyan, or yoga, or what we say, karma, gyan, and yoga. Yeah, these are the 3 systems of worship that fall below the highest standard. So you have karmis, gyanis, yogis, and various types of tapasis who worship according to their own ideas, or follow a so-called guru who teaches these methods of worship. But ultimately, it says here that by the mercy of Lord Nityānanda, one can understand everything. Because Lord Nityānanda is Balaram, and Balaram and Nityānanda are non-different. That's another principle that must be clearly understood. Those who see distinctions between Lord Nityānanda and Balaram, the word pasandi is used. Pasandi means atheist. They make a distinction between these 2 personalities. Actually, they're one and the same, but they manifest in 2 different forms to preach the glories of the Lord according to time, place, and circumstance. Brajendra Nandanaye Sachi Sutta Hoilo say, Balaram Hoilo Nitai. That same Balaram has appeared as Nityananda. There's no difference. And sometimes we see in the explanations of the Shastras where Lord Balaram appears as Balaram, and then he manifests his form as Lord Nityananda, or Lord Nityananda manifests his form as Balaram. They're one and the same. There's no difference. And so if we follow Shastra, Shastra is the authority, and that Shastra that is coming in line from Krishna himself. And for our teachings, Lord Chaitanya appeared in our Sampradaya, and all of the knowledge that we need for worship is given by the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. They are the direct disciples of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya spoke directly to Rupa Goswami for 10 days of Allahabad on the whole science of pure devotional service. Rupa Goswami wrote that down in a few books, such as Ujjvala Nilamani, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and Upadesh Amrita. These are books by Rupa Goswami which have inviolably established the actual standard of worship for according to Lord Chaitanya teachings for Sri Radha and Krishna in this age. So if we follow, everything becomes easy and clear. If we create our own ideas based on our mental speculation, or if we want to mentally speculate, there's philosophical speculation and there's mental speculation. Philosophical speculation helps you to understand deeper the principles. Mental speculation is to take something and then try to reinterpret it in your own ideas. It's a qualitative difference in that. So one should, of course, just follow the instructions. It becomes easy, and then the results are there. If you buy a new machine, say you buy a hair dryer or some kind of a machine, maybe some electronic device, it works in a certain way. And then with the machine comes, the operational book. You read the book, and then you understand how it works. If you don't read the book, you may make mistakes in the operation of the machine, or if you you might just do it your own way, or you make mistakes and the machine breaks down. It doesn't work according to how it's designed to work. So in the same way, um, Krishna establishes everything through his pure representatives. And if we listen to his pure representatives, get a clear understanding, and then act accordingly, then the process of devotional service, the results of that process becomes immediately manifested. And so here it is explained that the devotees in Vrindavan worship the Lord and they chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Although they honor and worship Lord Chaitanya also, but they worship him as the representative of the teachings of Radha and Krishna in this age. They also worship him as the Supreme Lord in the sense that we chant his name along with some of his associates, the Panchatattva, in order to establish ourselves in the worship of Radha and Krishna. And that's also another aspect that has seemed to be twisted around a little bit, because if you go to other verses, you'll find that you can't chant Hare Krishna unless you actually chant first the Panchatattva mantra. And without getting the mercy of the Panchatattva, you can't actually approach Radha and Krishna in this age. He becomes the means by which we can receive the mercy of Radha and Krishna. Because not only is he Radha and Krishna, but he's also teaching the process of pure devotional service. Okay, so these are some points. You can go down the page and see what else we somehow didn't cover in our discussion so far. I think Prabhupada, you see, one thing about Srila Prabhupada, and which is very, very important and helpful, he debunks what is not correct. Sometimes we find people becoming a little bit concerned or even upset that Prabhupada shoots down a lot of things that other people like to establish what is the actual true understanding. And therefore, he helps us to dispel any opportunities for mental speculation or becoming confused in what we are given. It's not, you should know what to avoid along with what to do. We find in our movement that devotees are very clear on what we're supposed to do, but a lot of times they're not so clear on what they're not supposed to do. And they include things or just don't know about how the system of bhakti operates and have a tendency to speculate. And therefore, they don't know what to avoid. Therefore, Rupa Goswami has made a very extensive explanation of both vidis and nishedas. Vidis means the principles that we adopt, and nishedas are the ones we avoid, like that. And Sanatana Goswami also, in his explanation of the principle of surrender, has given 6 principles of what it means to be a surrendered devotee. And the first 2 are anukulena, and the second one, anukulena and pratikulena. Anukulena means to accept what is favorable for devotional service. Pratikul means to reject what's unfavorable. And everything is given to us, what is favorable and unfavorable. We just have to learn it and avoid the unfavorable and adopt the favorable. The other 3 principles given by Sanatana Goswami is complete faith that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is our only provider, our only maintainer, our only protector. Not just he is a protector, maintainer, but he's the only one. Anyone who plays the role within your life and provides some of these things for you is being empowered by the Lord. They can't do it themselves. As Srila Prabhupada would say, no one can help anyone unless the Lord allows that to happen. And so if we understand that, behind the immediate cause is the remote cause, and that is the sanction of the Lord or the will of the Lord, both. And the last principle is dainya. Dainya means humble or humility. Humility allows one to receive this knowledge without any, what we say, addition or subtraction, to receive it as it is, to try to understand it and to carry it out, and to understand that the mercy of the Lord is the predominating factor in the execution of devotional service. When we sincerely try to follow the instructions and carry it out with attention and enthusiasm, as Rupa Goswami explains, then we qualify to get the full mercy of the Lord. When we add, distract, subtract, or reinterpret in our own ways, which is fashionable in this age of Kali, it's like you're making some sweet rice and you want to make it a little crunchy, so you throw some sand in there just to give it a little crunchy taste, a crunchy sound. But what will you get? You'll get sick, that's all. So anything, so the process is clear, but we have to learn it. And the learning process is to inquire from the spiritual teachers, especially one spiritual master, and in our case, from the instructions given to us by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, who has established the process of pure devotional service, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. So if we accept that process and follow carefully, we will get the results. And that results is we'll get three things. We'll get transcendental knowledge, we'll get happiness, and freedom from material suffering. All of these come as a concomitant factor by one who adopts the process accordingly. Okay, so we can end here and see if there's some discussion.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. I'm going to stop sharing and request devotees to please turn on your cameras wherever possible. It's very important and a deep topic that Maharaj is discussing. And thank you for shedding a lot of light, Maharaj. I hope there's questions, but what I would like to request devotees is Maharaj has a meeting in 1 hour, and I will start winding down the questions in 45 minutes to respect and give time to Maharaj. And I'll make sure that everyone gets a turn so that, this is a very deep question. So thank you so much for your cooperation and your understanding. Krishna Kaivraj Prabhu, please go ahead.
Krishna, thank you very much. Very much. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Maharaj. Very much. You mentioned the chanting of the Panchatattva mantra, and I just wanted to check something with you, because before each round that I chant the Panchatattva mantra 3 times. And the reason why I chant it 3 times is because I find that when I chant the Panchatattva mantra 3 times, it gives me the mood and the Shakti to chant my round nicely. So is it acceptable to chant it 3 times before each round?
Well, you just answered your own question.
Okay, I'll take that as a yes.
If you say it gives you the mood to chant nicely, why not? But there will be persons who say it's chanted only once before every round, and there will be others who will say we chant it once at the beginning, and then we just simply focus on the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra like that. So you might say all of them are okay, like that. The argument that because I'll give you a little history, is that when we first started, we were told we should chant it before each round. At least that's my remembrance. And then others were saying that breaks up your flow of chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So better you can just chant just once at the beginning, and that seems to be acceptable. Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada doesn't get so specific in that, but he does say before you can get the mercy of the holy name of Krishna, you must approach the Lord Chaitanya by chanting the Panchatattva mantra. That's mentioned in the eighth chapter of this same Adi Lila. So that is required. You can't jump into Radha Krishna without first approaching Lord Chaitanya. Whether you do it once, or once before every round, or 3 times, fine. But those who sometimes just they chant a round of Lord Chaitanya's name, then they chant a round of Radha Krishna's name, then they chant a round of Lord Chaitanya's name, and they chant that is not recommended, nor is that's somewhat of a deviation. That is a deviation.
I hope that helped, Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu. Thank you for asking that question. March, before I go to the next person, March, do you know the verse in chapter 8 of Adi Lila, March, that you just mentioned?
31.
Thank you, March. I just wanted to read for my reference. Thank you, March. Jai Radha Madan Mohan Prabhu, you're next.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances and your lotus feet. Guru Maharaj, I have a question to ask, like it's quite very confusing for me sometimes, but as you just instructed that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked us to worship Radha and Krishna. So but in Kali Yuga it is told that we should try to worship Lord Chaitanya and Nityānanda, since they are more merciful. So what should we follow? Because sometimes when I chant
Wait a minute, that was the whole class. You're asking what I just explained for the last half hour.
So Radha and Krishna should be in center.
Yeah, that's what Lord Chaitanya came to teach. If Lord Chaitanya says to chant Radha and Krishna's name, and you say, I'm going to chant Lord Chaitanya's name because he's more merciful, then you're disobeying his instructions.
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Did you hear the question?
It was kind of big. I just said Lakshmi Narayan. That's all I could hear, was kind of muffled, Maharaj.
He's saying the same thing that people use as an excuse to worship Lord Chaitanya and bypass Radha and Krishna. The same thing that's mentioned in the purport. They say Lord Chaitanya is more merciful, and therefore they should chant Lord Chaitanya's name because he's Radha and Krishna and he's more merciful. But if Lord Chaitanya says, chant the name of Radha and Krishna and not my name, and then you think, well, and you don't do it, then you're disobeying Lord Chaitanya's instruction. And you would disobey his instruction and you expect to worship him at the same time. That's somewhat contradictory. Not contradictory, it is. If your mother tells you to do this and you tell her, well, 5 years ago you told me not to do it, now you're telling me to do it. So now, what should I do? Well, take it at the present. Don't worry about what happened in the past. that's a kind of poor analogy, but anyway, the point is that, yeah, there's many people want to worship an object, but they disobey the object. Obedience is the first principle in spiritual life. The word discipline comes from the word disciple comes from the word discipline, which means to follow, to obey.
Thank you, Maharaj. Any questions from devotees, please do raise your hand or put it in the chat. Yes, Krishna Kaviraj, go ahead, Prabhu.
Yes, Maharaj, can you clarify, please? When we hear that Lord Chaitanya wants us to worship Radha and Krishna, yet so many devotees have golden Nitai deities and they worship them, and even in the temples we worship Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah.
And so can you explain the apparent contradiction?
Yeah, but they worship Lord Chaitanya and Radha and Krishna.
Okay.
It's not that they're worshiping just Lord Chaitanya. Because the worship of Radha and Krishna is very difficult and strict. So by worshiping Lord Chaitanya, how is the worship of Lord Chaitanya done? By doing kirtan of Radha and Krishna. That's how you worship Lord Chaitanya. You do kirtan of Radha and Krishna. If you keep the deities, you dress them, you offer them food, you do formal worship. That's done in the temples. But ultimately, even those temples that are preaching centers that don't have Radha and Krishna, they just have varṇite, they chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. They don't just chant, the Panchatattva mantra or Gauranga's names. Because that's what Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityānanda came to teach us the worship of Radha and Krishna. And they worshipped Radha and Krishna as an example to establish worship.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Oh,
Maharaj.
that helped. Thank you.
Okay.
Marge, I have a question in the chat and then I'll go to Sakshi and Sri Devi. This is from Parijata. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, all the Shishur Prabhupada, and to you. I have two questions. The first is about Sri Nitai. Why does Lord Nityananda reveal his heart most to those who feel broken, unqualified, or helpless? And how does his forgiveness heal deep-rooted shame, guilt, and hopelessness in a devotee's heart?
Well, Kali Yuga Pavana, Kali Boyanasana, Sri Satchinandana Namre. Kali Yuga Pavana, he is the manifestation of complete mercy in this age, that he is giving the highest to anyone who takes up the process of bhakti. There's no restrictions to anyone who takes up the process and who chants the holy name. There's many verses, what is that verse? In the second canto, 9th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad. Hirata Hunan Palinda Pukasal. Sambira Avala Kasyadaya Yene Chapampa Upasraya Sraya Sudanti Prabhavishnave Namaha. And it mentions these lower races that come from different remote places on the earth planet. Even they can worship the Supreme Lord if they follow the process. So Lord Chaitanya has this mood of wanting to include everyone and anyone in the worship of the Supreme Lord by extending his mercy to such persons. So that's why They are the Patita Pavana avatars in this age, most merciful. Well, Patita Pavana. Patita means those who are very fallen, those who are extremely fallen. So yeah, if you sincerely try to worship, even if you're not qualified to take up the worship, but you sincerely try anyway, you'll receive the mercy of Lord Nityānanda. Lord Nityānanda is the manifestation of Lord Chaitanya's mercy for the entire universe. He goes everywhere and campuses on behalf of Lord Chaitanya by offering everyone and anyone the opportunity to worship Lord Chaitanya through the process of Harinam Sankirtan. Boro Suker Kabugai, Boro Suker Kabugai, Surabi Kundeche, Namera Kudeche, Koda Nitai, Koda Nitai. Koda means merchant. He's a merchant that goes everywhere and anywhere. He is the principle of Guru Tattva, as Balaram is the source of Guru Tattva, and Balaram and Nityananda are not different. So all of the manifestations of the spiritual masters come through Balaram Nitai, Nityananda Balaram, you might say. So yeah, he's very merciful. He is the supreme spiritual master playing the role of a devotee in this world. Just like Srila Prabhupada is going everywhere distributing the mercy of Gaur Nitai to anyone and anyone. And you can see by the history of our movement, if you study, you'll see how the most lowest of the low in terms of material standards also came. They had no spiritual qualifications and hardly any material qualifications, but still they got the mercy. There's that one person, I can't remember his name. They used to call him, I don't know. Indrajumna Maharaj talks about him in one incident where he was personally present in France many years ago. I can't remember his name, but he was so despicable he didn't even take a bath, but he wanted to, he wanted to associate with Srila Prabhupada. Devotees were keeping him away from Prabhupada because, I don't know, if they gave him a nickname, I can't remember. Huh? No, that's somebody else. Tracy Peter was actually a great philosopher. That's Kushakrata. This person was, I mean, they used to call it scrubby or something. But, you know, somehow he snuck in, got and fell at the feet of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada rubbed his head and showed him supreme mercy. When he did that, he actually changed and actually became a devotee and started doing Sankirtan. He didn't even take a bath. I was just listening to Prabhupada talking about that today, and he was describing, yes, my devotees, you know, they don't know what to do or what not to do. Many of them, their habits are so unclean. They used to bathe only once a week at most. He's glorifying his devotees, but saying how they used to be before they became a devotee. I mean, we were pretty bad. To go into the history is you can write volumes.
Thank you, Mark. I'm sorry.
Lord Chaitanya's mercy. He doesn't discriminate. As long as one is a little bit sincere, then he'll show his mercy to bring that person closer.
March, as you were speaking about how the devotees joined ISKCON when Srila Prabhupada and we were pretty bad, you said, I was thinking about a comment that Bhaktitirtha Swami made many years ago, and I think probably Prakshit might remember, where he said that, you know, when the proper disciples leave, then there would be another Chaitanya Charitamrita continuing, written by devotees of how Srila Prabhupada disciples joined ISKCON, and that's going to be volumes, as you said, Maharaj. So,
I remember the nickname now that they call that guy. They used to call him Pigpen.
oh, I think I remember reading that long time ago, Maharaj. Yes, big fan.
Pigpen, yeah, that's what the devotees called him. Pigpen.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, that's the second question, and I'll go to Sakshi. Prajatas asked, the second question is, why is sentimentalism often mistaken for spiritual advancement?
Well, because bhakti is based on emotion. Intelligence guides emotion towards the goal. The goal is to love Krishna, which is the principle, the highest principle of emotion, which is the highest principle of life. So bhakti is about emotion. But unless that emotion is guided by what we say, solid religious principles, it becomes sentimental. So without that foundation, then people can say anything and do anything in the name of showing devotion.
I hope that helped, Parijata. Very nice questions. You always ask powerful questions. Thank you.
You need tattva
Thank you very much.
yeah. Tattva has to be there. Knowledge. Prabhupada would use the example saying himself, I have a mind of an English army officer and a heart of a Bengali mother. So strong mind means clear philosophical understanding. Soft heart means to offer yourself in a loving mood in the form of service to the Supreme Lord and to his devotees. Love is the goal, but it must not take the root of sentiment, but actual love. People mistaken feelings for true emotions, but if they're not guided by what we say, clear understanding of how those emotions will bring one to the goal. Otherwise, that's what he calls sentiment. Or another form of sentiment, or the opposite, is fanaticism. That's why Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita, what is it called? Let's see. Philosophy without religion is mental speculation, and religion without philosophy is fanaticism or sentimentalism.
Thank you, Marge. I'll write my notes a little bit. I'm going kind of slow here. Thank you, Marge. Sakshi, go ahead. You're next.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, good English. My humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Guru Maharaj in the lecture, the essence was they understood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he preached that we have to worship Radha and Krishna. But then yesterday, after the class, we were discussing about the Mahaprabhu's Mahaprakash Lila. So there he was accepting the worship. So if we can, how
Yeah,
can we understand that?
he is Radha and Krishna. But he never presented himself except on very rare occasions as the object of worship. Take his teachings as the standard. If he does something different, you can't use that as the standard. What he says, we adopt. Just like people say, well, in the Shastras, it says you can chant Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Yeah, it's mentioned, but Lord Chaitanya taught us to chant Hare Krishna first. And the Shastras also mentioned that in places. So they mentioned both. So because we are Rupa Nugas, followers of Rupa Goswami, who is the strict follower of Lord Chaitanya, we follow Lord Chaitanya's teachings by following the instructions given by the authorities that he put in place to give his teachings, such as Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. Yeah, so that was a special mercy that he wanted to give his devotees. He manifests himself in his actual position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Supreme Personality. He's Radha and Krishna in one. But we don't worship him in this age. We worship Radha and Krishna. We glorify Lord Chaitanya, and we also worship Lord Chaitanya, but not distinct from Radha and Krishna. If you want to worship Lord Chaitanya, fine. We should worship Lord Chaitanya. He's Krishna himself. But along with Radha and Krishna, not separate or without, That's the point.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sakshi. Sridevi, I think you had your hand up earlier, so you can go ahead.
Thank you. Dear Guru Maharaj, please.
Why don't you keep your thing on so they can hear you too? They can't hear you from here. Take yourself off mute. Yeah. Take yourself off mute.
Yeah, unmute yourself, Sridevi, then we can hear you better. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Perfect.
My question is this. In our ISKCON movement, we worship God Nitai. We have deities of God Nitai. And we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Is that complete in itself, or we need to progress to the point where we are also worshipping Radha Krishna deities?
We do worship Radha and Krishna deities. The temples around the world have Radha and Krishna deities in there. That was established by Srila Prabhupada.
I mean, in our homes.
But if you can keep up the standard of Radha Krishna in your homes, then yeah, but that's a very high standard. And to put Radha and Krishna in a home, there are certain principles that you must adopt. Otherwise, the worship will be offensive. I know devotees who have Radha and Krishna deities. And they worship Radha and Krishna. But they have a separate room. It's not in the same room where they do everything else. You can't have Radha and Krishna in a room where your living room or anywhere. You have to have it in a separate area where they have their own space. And then, of course, get guidance from the spiritual teachers about how to manifest proper worship within your home. What is that standard? Because the home can become a temple if you arrange it in that way. We see even in the history of our Gaudiya Math, our Gaudiya Sampradaya, how, many of the Goswamis, they had deities of Radha and Krishna.
But is it necessary to progress to that point, or just Gaur Nitai deities are sufficient?
Well, if you're chanting the holy names of the Lord, you're worshiping Radha and Krishna.
Jai, thank you.
And that is not dispensable. That is required.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Sridevi, I'm glad you asked that question because that also gave me a bit of relief, in my opinion. Because I know having Radha Krishna deities in the home is, I mean, anywhere, it's like you gotta up it up. You gotta up it up.
Well, you have your temple, you have Gaur Nitai, right?
Yes, Maharaj, and they're so merciful.
And but you don't have Radha and Krishna deities.
No, Maharaj.
But you should think as the worship continues and as the congregation expands and as people take on more and more responsibility for worship, then at one point you can introduce.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Marge. Just as you said, Marge, is what I am waiting for, that moment when everybody everybody might be a tall order, but when as devotees grow and increase and take up, then it'll be very nice to have Radha Krishna deities. Yes.
Yeah.
Because for
Or
that, I know the ISKCON standard, they up it up. It's like 7 offerings a day. So it's pretty intense.
Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra also.
Yes.
The
I was
standard
even
of-
thinking about that.
the standard of worship is a little less
Mhm.
strict.
Yes, Maharaj. And then slowly increase to Radha Krishna from Gaunitai, then Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, and then go up. Yeah, that's a slope. That's an easy progress, right? Just little by little. Thank you, Mark. That's very nice. I thought I'll definitely meditate on that, and hopefully we can get to that stage. Any other questions from, wait, did I miss something in the chat? I think okay, no, that was Jai. Oh, yes, Sakshi, go ahead.
Thank you. So Guru Maharaj, I have the same question. Like we have Radha Krishna deity at our home. So those deities belongs to our ancestors. So we have them with us. Now, what is the way to worship them? My brother, he's initiated and he's worshiping, but we really don't know the standard.
Yeah, that's something we should that has to be discussed. That's not responded in the form of a question answer thing. In other words, obviously you need to discuss that with the authorities, the spiritual masters and others.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to see the situation and see whether people in the home can keep up the standard and not just have them as some kind of dolls that sit or stand on the altar, and you just pass by every once in a while and offer your pranams, you know. They're not just to decorate your house, you know. That's not the idea.
Thank you, Sakshi. Any questions from devotees? We got about 11 more minutes before Maharaj has to leave for the meeting. Maharaj, I have a question, Maharaj, and somehow I'm trying to remember where I read this. I want to say it was Shrutikirti Prabhu, but I don't remember. We were told, Maharaj, that devotees in Vrindavan, they're very fortunate to be born and blessed, to be in Vrindavan as Brajavasis. And when they greet devotees, as it's said in the purport, they do, Hare Krishna or Radhe Radhe. But I was also taught that, and told, not taught, told that we cannot and should not mimic the Brajavasis and become like them and also chant or greet Radhe Radhe. And I'm trying to think which Prabhupada disciple said that Prabhupada also never did so much of Radhe Radhe greeting. Is that right,
No.
Maharaj?
When people would greet Prabhupada in Vrindavan saying Jai Shri Radhe, he would say Hare Krishna. That's
So
how
we should,
Prabhupada-
so we
Yeah.
should just follow that, right, Maharaj?
I mean, if you say Jai Shri Radhe back, it's not wrong.
Okay. Okay.
But the way Prabhupada did it was he said Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Radhe Radhe, I don't know. That's somebody's idea. It's Jai Shri Radhe.
Wow, Marge, it's interesting you're saying that, you're mentioning it because, early in your class, you're mentioning how things can get misguided and, construed, like switched and now it went from Jai Shri Radhe to Radhe Radhe. Wow. It just changes over a period of time. We got to be careful.
I mean, because Radharani is the most exalted. Radhe 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 Radhe. I mean, it's not the idea. Jai Shri Radhe, that's respectable.
Thank you, Marge. I was just corrected that actually it's not 11 minutes, but we have about 20 minutes. So we can actually end in 20 minutes. So you can shoot your questions across if you want, devotees. Please do raise your hand or chat. Marge, I have another question. Is it safe? I think that's the nice word to say. Is it safe for devotees who are still beginning Krishna consciousness or still new, to if they want to have a deity at home, that they first start with Gonatai deity as opposed to going straight to Radha Krishna deity?
They should get permission. In most cases, that we say that it's best you first get initiated. But there are certain cases where they slacken the rules a little bit and allow for someone who is very sincere, although not initiated, to worship. That has to be good, judged and guided by the spiritual master. Otherwise, you can make mistakes. And then they should also ask first a protocol on how to worship each day and establish something. Because home worship is subject to unsteadiness. And when it comes to worship, steadiness is one of the principles.
Thank you. Yeah, yes, Marge. Yeah, because Grihastha life is so crazy. We have so much unsteadiness.
You're getting, Anasuya, what you just said just cracked everybody up. So.
Sorry, Maharaj, I didn't mean to.
Well, you cracked me up too, which was really good.
Maharaj, it's so true though.
I can't get no satisfaction, but I keep trying.
It's such a roller coaster ride, Maharaj. Sometimes, we get just thrown, we get wrenches thrown at us unexpectedly and then still try to maintain steadiness.
They throw the wrenches at the spiritual master too. And they say, here, you fix it.
Hare Krishna, Chaitanya.
I'm in the middle of something right now, so I need some good gloves to catch the thrown wrenches,
Oh boy. Maharaj, Maharaj, now you got us laughing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. March, I would like to ask one more question. There's no one else that has a question, but if you guys do, please just jump right in or raise your hand. Marge, even when it comes to whether Gonatai deity or Radha Krishna deity at home, for home worship or temple worship, the challenge that devotees generally experience is that challenge of commitment, or like you mentioned, steadiness. Because like you mentioned, Marissa, sometimes we just think that it's a deity is because it's a cultural thing that we have to have in the house because we grew up in that background. So if it's not there, it's not a home or something. But at the same time, there's this challenge of commitment and steadiness, and because it's a commitment. So how can we develop that commitment, Maharaj, that sacrifice in deity worship?
It's better to try to get approval just for Gaura worship. Don't try for Radha and Krishna or any other deities. Because Gaura they don't accept offenses. We shouldn't be offensive, but they don't accept offenses. Just like sometimes people go away on vacation, and what do they do with their deities? Sometimes they put them to rest. Sometimes they give them to their friends for worship.
Or sometimes they take them and travel with them.
That's also, yeah.
Yeah.
But best to stick with home worship with Gaura. And that way you're free from offenses. That's why they're called Patita Pavan. They're also Karuna avatar. What is that verse? Namo Mahavandanaya Krishna Prema Padai. Namo Mahavandanaya. Most magnanimous. But Prabhupada said, don't take advantage.
Yes, Maharaj.
In the name of them being merciful.
Yes, sometimes we can take that, like you said, Maharaj, as an advantage and kind of loosen up and then loosen down.
I wouldn't, generally, if people ask me for Radha and Krishna deities at their home, I wouldn't approve of it. With Gaura, it's doable.
Yes, Maharaj, because the other day I was watching a beautiful video by Bhakti Dhiradamdar Maharaj on Facebook, how he does his deity worship, because he has Gonitai, Shalagram Shila, beautiful Shalagram Shilas actually, and Radha Krishna. And being a traveling sannyasi, oh my goodness, I don't know how he does that elaborate worship every day.
Yeah.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, strong commitment. Gopal Krishna Maharaj used to carry so many Shilas and worship them every day. I used to carry deities also. I used to carry Gaura, and I also carried Lakshmi Nrsimha. I carried Prahlad Nrsimha. I carried Jagannath Baladev Subhadra for years.
In the blue Dodge van, Maharaj, the one that you had?
That was one of the many cars. Yeah.
That's the only one I remember that used to travel into Kirtanagar. It was a blue Dodge van.
I had a little altar on the front part of the dashboard that the deities would fit in really nicely.
I remember that, Maharaj. Wow.
Guru Maharaj, I have a question. Sorry, Mataji.
Please, go ahead.
Okay. So if prema is defined as the purest, Maharaj, like the most selfless state of consciousness, why would someone imagine that prema could appear in heart that is still affected by anarthas? What blindness is at work there?
It can appear, but it can't be permanent. Yeah, prema can appear at any time, anywhere, by circumstance and by proper mood. It can appear, but in order to establish prema as the mood of worship, that comes by purification. But it can appear anytime, but doesn't mean that's going to be the standard. Yeah, what is it? what is it? Lord Chaitanya, after speaking the essential principles worship, the 5 essential principles, chanting the holy names, worshiping the Lord in his deity form, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, living in a holy place and associating with devotees. And Rupa Goswami mentions in Nectar of Devotion that even a gross neophyte can experience transcendental happiness, or actually, what does he say, ecstatic symptoms, if they worship in one or more of these processes. Sometimes you see that, you'll see a new person, they'll be very ecstatic, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a permanent experience. It's something that comes and goes due to being the right time in the right place in the right mood.
Thank you,
Because
Guru Maharaj.
bhakti's there in the heart. It's there.
Very nice question, Parijata. Thank you. Maharaj, there's a question here from Gauripriya. Dear Maharaj, I'm trying to understand the question. If already was taken a Shringadev and Gopal when everything in life was peaceful, and now life drastically changed. So I'm only traveling with them and with Gornitai together since 2023. As of now, no specific place to stay. How to deal in this situation?
She's traveling with deities and she wants to know how to get a permanent place. Is that it?
Yes, that sounds like it. That she's traveling with them since 2023 and there's no specific place for them to stay. So how does she deal in this situation?
Yeah, I have that same thing, and I eventually gave my deities to someone who was living in a household ashram to worship, because I felt that giving them the proper worship wasn't possible with the lifestyle I was involved with. She said if she's constantly traveling, it may be the same thing also. The best thing to do is that wherever you stay, set up a nice altar and worship them nicely. And as you travel with them, make sure everything is done nicely. You have a nice carrying case, everything is done properly. But I found that difficult after some time because of the travel. And therefore, I wound up giving my deities to one person who has, actually, there's one person who has 1, 2, 3, 4 different deities that I worshiped, because he's a deity person, so I trusted him the most. He's good with deities. Now I have Srila Haridas Thakur, and I travel with him, but I don't have a schedule. So he eats at different times, and he eats different amounts. But he doesn't care because he's chanting all the time, so it doesn't matter. I try to keep everything nice and clean and organized and the best possible arrangements for travel. That's done, but keeping a schedule, not possible.
Hope that helped, Gauripriya. Thank you. Mark, that's a question from Rasa Vilasani Radha. She said, Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, August Ashur Prabhupada, to Gurudev and the assembled devotees. Can you please explain a little bit about the worship of Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra? You mentioned that some standards are needed. Is it necessary to install Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra formally, or if we have kept them simply with kirtan and flower abhishek like prema pratishta, is that the correct way?
Home worship is established by the principle of time. Whereas you start worshiping and then you continue to worship, then it becomes a standard. you should check with those who are the pujaris, who have knowledge of that kind of worship, who have the Jagannath deities in their home, and ask them what is their standard they keep. Talk to them. I can't give you what we say a stable answer.
Also, Marge, if I may share that there is a home deity class or online videos that was conducted by Nrsimha Prabhu, Jayananda, my god brother, that really breaks it down in a very simple manner for those who want to do home deity worship. Yeah.
These are people who know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they made it very simple.
Jayananda is good.
He's really good. He's really good. Yes. That's a home on YouTube. That's one on YouTube. I know that. Yeah.
Brahma Muhurta also.
Yes, he's also good. But Brahma Muhurta is also good. He's based in New York. Yes.
And there are
Thank
many
you.
others. Okay, I think we ran out of time.
Yes, Marge. It's just Marge, just one last question, and probably take you like about a minute to answer. I'm thinking it's this devotee named Raj Joy, where he said that he has carpal tunnel syndrome in his hands, and when he chants and moves the beats, the fingers hurt. What can he do?
Then chant well, if you can relieve the pain in the fingers was one thing, but if you can't do that, then do it without the beads. But chant on your fingers. Use the sections of your fingers to count. People in jail do that. You get the hand like this, you go Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So if you go around, is it? If you got 4, 8, 12. Let's see. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you can use the sections of your hands. People in jail who are not allowed to have japa beads, they do that.
Thank you, Marge. I just figured that out too. I had no idea. Thank you, Marge. Of course, Krishna's Marge, I could use my beads. Thank you. Marge, I think we are good. It's 7 minutes before the end, so I want to keep the in respect that you have to go for the meeting, and we thank all the devotees for joining this call. And Marge, thank you so much for giving your time and somehow making it work to fit everybody's schedule according, and also yours. And thank you, really thank you. Vanchakapatibhyascha kripasindhabheva patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Candramauli Swami ki jai.
Jai, Jai.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Hare
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Hare
I'll talk to
Krishna.
you. You're on the next call, right, Parijata? Yeah.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
I have one side question to ask you. It's not related to the purpose of the call.
Could you just repeat, Guru Maharaj? I think I lost my signal.
Yeah, well, when we get on the call, there's some questions I have that are not related to the subject matter. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai
Thank you,
Ho.
Marge. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Maharaj.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna,
Krishna Mataji, thank you so much.
Hari Hari Bol.